demonstrate the will of God. Why? In the beginning, God said, and it was good. In the very first chapter, when He initiated the creation by the words that He spoke, 8 times in the development of His creation, in setting the stars and the sun and the moon and the earth and people and putting everything in place, 8 times after He declared that He had created this, His words were, as He looked at it, it is good. Or in the past tense, it was good. So what are we talking about? When we look at God's creation, we do not find that sickness was a part of God's original creation. So miracles, they are a demonstration to us that God is good. They confirm to us that His original creation, although it was distorted by sin, and although the book of Romans chapter 3 and the book of Romans chapter 6 and the book of Corinthians, they tell us clearly that sin entered in, and when sin entered into the earth, death came in. And in Romans chapter 8, the creation was frustrated, not of its own will, but due to the sin that entered in through humanity's disobedience. So, what are we talking about? In the beginning, God said, and it was good. And sickness was not a part of His original creation. So, now, when we see a miracle in evidence, when we realize this, we recognize that miracles come to us as a confirmation that it is God's will to do good and not to do evil, to be a blessing and not to harm, to give life and not to curse. And God is with us, He is for us, and He is not against us. Point number 3. And a very significant point. Miracles verify our words. Honestly, I submit to you. Remember, we're talking about our purpose for miracles. Your Christianity requires that you rise to the dignity that God has given to you by declaring to you that the same Spirit that is upon Jesus, this same Spirit, we can find ourselves in the gospel, and we can discover that this same Spirit is upon us. So, Jesus demonstrated to us that in His ministry, He needed miracles, because miracles were a confirmation of the Father's heart as He walked in the earth. Jesus said this in John chapter 14, believe me, verses 11 through 13, believe me that I am in the Father and the Father in me, or else believe me for the very work's sake.